Hello, good evening, everyone. So today I welcome on behalf of WIRC you all on the today's program on Maharashtra tax amnesty scheme. As we all know that a recent scheme has been announced by Maharashtra state government for the earlier disputes. We have today CA Deepak Thakkar with us. I welcome you all. Now I move forward to our WIRC chairman CA Murtaza Kachwala for their opening remark. Sir, over to you.
Before I give my opening remarks, I request everyone to put the hand on the heart for ICI motto, please.
येष सुप्तेषु जागृति येष सुप्तेषु जागृति कामं 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 कामपुरुषो पुरुषो निर्विमाणः निर्विमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तद्ब्रह्मा तद्ब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः शतः सर्वे तदूनात्यपि कश्चन एतद्द्वैता 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 एतद्द्वैता.
Thank you. Let me at the outset thank Chairman of the Indirect Tax Committee, CA Yashwant Kasar, and Vice Chairman of the Indirect Tax GST Committee, Gautam Lat, for organizing series of such good programs on good topics. And I'm seeing every week one program. And today, the program on Maharashtra State Amnesty Scheme. So really grateful to the Indirect Tax Committee of WIRC and both the Chairman and Vice Chairman. Let me also thank CA Deepak Thakkar. Deepak Bhai is always ready to support WIRC, and we keep on inviting him when it comes to share his knowledge. Deepak Bhai, really grateful. Thank you very much. And as we speak, Deepak Bhai and all of our other friends are also working on publication. So really grateful for giving so much time. And I also want to recognize presence and thank CA Praveen Khemka, coordinator, for joining the program today. Let me also thank almost more than 250-300 participants who decided to join us today for this topic. As we all know, as various acts got subsumed into the GST Act, there were pending litigation matters which were there in the earlier act and which were pending there. And also the COVID made it difficult for the businessmen and traders. And I think the government has decided to come up at the right time to expedite the relief. And I think this is one opportunity where we members can encourage the businessmen, the traders to take the advantage of this scheme and come ahead and settle all the old litigation matters. So really a great topic, and to hear from the expert today. Before I hand over back to Gautam, just wanted to take a couple of minutes. And this year at WIRC, our theme is LEAD, that is Leap Towards Excellence, Achievement and Development. And to achieve overall development, we are trying to focus. We have identified 5 goals, but the 2 important things which we want to focus on this year. One is organizing technical programs on various technical subjects and ensuring that member get to know about various aspects of our profession. And of course, the direct tax and the indirect tax remain to be our major revenue streams, and also the audits. And we are doing a lot of sessions on the direct tax, the indirect tax, the auditing standards, the accounting standards, etc. But other than that, we are also trying to come up with courses or programs on opportunities in MSME, opportunities in startup, valuation, internalized and risk management, and there are so many other subjects where we are even trying to do either a 3-hour session or even a 12 to 15 hours refresher course. And we would encourage members to keep on attending these and trying to pick up newer areas of practice in addition to the existing areas. But the other important aspect which we are focusing our energy on is also the whole of technological updation of members. And on technology updation, as we speak, yesterday we started something on CAT tools. So using idea how we can do analytics in procure to pay, order to cash, whether I'm doing statutory audit or internal audit, there are various type of analytic procedures which we can adopt, and how to use hands-on usage of idea tool. Similarly, we just recently did a program on fusion of Excel and Tableau. So there are so many technology courses which we are doing, and we are also launching a longer duration course, a part 1 on SQL and Python data analytics coding yourself, a 60 hours, which is on a weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and for as low as 9,000 rupees fees. And the part 2 is on visualization using Power BI and Tableau, with fees of 6,000 rupees, 40 hours, again our weekend batch, which we are launching in the coming week. So we would encourage members also to join these larger courses which will help them in analytics and visualization. So a lot of action at WRC, and keep supporting us and keep joining us for all our programs. Happy learning to all of you. Thank you very much. And over to Gautam again. Gautam, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chairman, sir, for your opening remark and informing members about various initiatives at WRC what we are taking. Now I move forward to Chairman of Committee, Yashwant Kasar, sir, for introduction of faculty. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Gautam. Dear friends, before introducing Deepak sir to all of you, although he needs no introduction among CA fraternity because he is a well-known GST or the indirect tax expert, I will take your 2 minutes about our GST committee of WRC, which is a very vibrant committee, and we keep on organizing various programs, webinars, seminars for the members in indirect tax areas. We keep publishing various useful publications as well, and 2 useful publications are underway, which will be released shortly in the next week only. One is related to today's topic, that is Maharashtra State Amnesty Scheme 2022. So that publication we may have released today itself, but yesterday that trade circular came, and because of that we may need a few more days to release it, because we want to incorporate that and make it updated. So it will be released shortly. Apart from that, one publication is coming up in the next week, that is on transactions which will not be regarded as supply, that is schedule 3 items. So that publication will be there. I would also like to appeal the members present over here, if you feel that WRC should come up with any particular publication on GST in a particular area where the guidance is required from the experts, please let us know, please write us so that we can work on that. If you would like to be part of any publication or be as a contributor, then also you can write to us and connect with us. So with this, now I would take opportunity to introduce before you our today's faculty for this today's webinar, CA Deepak Thakkar sir. He is by qualification BCom FCA. He is practicing since 1984 and focusing in the indirect taxes area. His firm name is Deepak H. Thakkar and Associate. He practices at Mumbai. Sir has performed various roles at various organizations. He was in 2002-2003. He was the president of STP Association of Maharashtra. Today it is known as GSTPAM. Then he has co-authored various publications as well. To name a few, one such publication was E-commerce Transactions under GST, which was published by WRC. Then Guide to GST Annual Returns and GST Audit. Then MVAT, Guide to MVAT Audit, which was published by WRC. Then these are a few of the publications. The publication list is much more. He has presented papers on taxation of intangible property rights in 1999 and in 2004, then impact of CST amendments in 2003, and he has written articles on varied subject of GST review, CTs subjects in GST review, in CTC as well as in BCA's journal. He has conducted various webinars, programs, and workshops till now at WRC, at BCS, at CTC, at GSTPM, etc. Then he is the visiting faculty currently and at GST Department of Maharashtra, then Revenue Department of Central Government, Revenue Audit Department of Central Government, and Government Law College of Mumbai. So with this brief introduction of Deepak sir, I'm really thankful to him for sparing his time for this today's session and agreeing to guide all our participants. So over to you, Gautam.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir. Deepak sir, over to you for the today's webinar and your deliberation, sir.
yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, let me congratulate this new team of WRC under the leadership of Mr. Murtuza and Mr. Kasar and all that. I know that all of you are very sincere, and it already is evident from the programs which you have already started with and planned for future. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to deliberate upon the recent interested topic of the Maharashtra sales tax, or the tax settlement scheme, or we call it as Amnesty scheme 2022. I'll just share my screen and then I'll continue my talk. Is this visible?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Okay. Just hold on. Let me also.
So meanwhile, I request all the participants, whoever has any query, they can mention in chat box, and we will take up all the queries by end of this session.
Yes. Now, this particular Maharashtra tax settlement scheme, I may in my talk also refer it as the settlement scheme or the amnesty scheme and so on. So understand that we are talking about this scheme which is recently implemented by Maharashtra government. The presentation is already shared by me and it is already available on this particular for downloading also. So let me take you through my presentation. Any question which comes to your mind, please note down, because during this my session you will get to know about it, and if at all something is left out, last 10 minutes or so we will reserve for the questions. Also, I might touch upon some representation aspects. So let some of our committee member just note down, so it will be easier for us to make representation to the commissioner on certain issues reading this particular scheme. As mentioned by our chairman, rightly so, that this particular scheme of amnesty is thought and pronounced to reduce the pending litigations under the sales tax laws. We are already now in GST, and as we all are focusing on the GST, the departmental officials are not getting enough time to focus on GST. So they thought that let us try to resolve the pending litigations, and this will also result in unlocking the huge areas of the revenue which is piled up in the pending litigations. So this particular scheme is available for any dues pending which is there up to the period of June 30th, 2017. So this particular scheme is not applicable for any tax liability under the GST Act. which please note. This is also announced to provide relief measures to the dealers who have been adversely affected by pandemic. So I'll be touching upon the Maharashtra Settlement of Arrears of Tax, Interest, Penalty or Late Fee Act 2022. This is pronounced on 28th March to be applicable from April to 30th September 22. Also, there are notifications issued under this particular act. Instructions are also issued by the commissioner. The user manual is also available on the portal, highlighting about how to apply the under the scheme, taking benefit on payment of the requisite sum. Also, FAQ is available on the website, and yesterday only a trade circular has been issued by the commissioner, and I'll be touching upon this circular as well. Friends, this particular act, what we are discussing, I'll be touching upon some important definitions, terms, eligibility under the scheme, then what areas are covered, how you will compute disputed and undisputed tax, how much amount is to be paid, and finally, how much benefit one will get on payment of some amount as a requisite sum. Then we will consider that how you can make the payment, what are the conditions of the settlement and applications. The important is the case studies. Friends, the circular which I just talked about is also having some examples, and I myself have prepared some case study taking some round figures for our easy understanding, wherein I'll also take you through some issues which arises on the amnesty scheme, particularly talking about the circular, which they have also given some views, and some different interpretation may also come out. So I'll be further touching upon some conditions and eligibility, the payment and application, verification by the authority, compliance by the applicant, and so on. Also, rectification powers are there, appeal provisions are there under this particular scheme, and revocation may also happen. Certain important issues also I'll lastly highlight. I may not touch upon the procedural aspect much more, because there is much to discuss about the fundamentals of the scheme and the major benefit, rather than discussing the procedural aspect, which is online, very easy that one can go ahead with. So this particular scheme 2022, if I see at a glance, it is like what benefit is passed on. It is in the nature of arrears of any tax, interest, penalty or late fee by way of statutory order or by way of returns which I have filed, but I'm unable to make the payment of the admitted dues. The third one is my VAT auditor recommended me that you need to pay this certain sum, but yet I have not complied with, and notice issued for any proceeding. Now this is I have cancelled, because this particular aspect was there in the last scheme of 2019. It said that if any notice is issued for any proceeding and you feel that you would like to take the benefit even in respect of this particular notice for that particular period for which it is issued, you can take benefit, but no, such aspect is not covered by this scheme of 2022. And the last one is self-determination. Even self-determination is not covered, which we will be discussing exactly what I try to mean it. So whatever these three aspects are covered, that my dues, my demand, my pending outstanding amount may be under any statutory order, or it may be returns are filed but I have not yet paid for, and auditor recommended something to pay which is outstanding. So this particular three types of my arrears have to divide into undisputed and disputed. Undisputed, when I say it cannot be settled, because there is no dispute. Even you accept that yes, this is your liability, and this particular undisputed tax has to be paid fully and there is no amnesty for that. Then what is that it is for? It is very well covered that if at all you have undisputed tax liability, but interest and penalty is also there into this, onto that. So this interest and penalty is available and eligible for the benefit under the amnesty scheme. So this is a better part. So undisputed tax we have to pay 100%, but any interest or penalty on that, I have the benefit to pay lesser and get the amnesty for some amount. Now coming to disputed tax, it can be settled subject to payment of a requisite sum. That okay, say there is a undisputed tax of say 200 rupees which I have to pay, but there is a disputed tax of another 300 rupees, and out of 300 I pay some amount and balance I get back the as waiver, and that is the benefit which ultimately I get. So what amount I should pay, we will discuss that. It has to be determined based on the sections and the annexure to this particular scheme. Friends, for your easy reference at a future time, I have mentioned all the sections and the references of the circular paras and everything. And I may not speak during my deliberations. I'll be more explaining, try to explain in a very simple manner instead of just speaking out some sections and so on. So we have to refer the act in toto plus the annexure and annexure A and B. We will discuss this in detail. Now about this particular disputed tax, again a novel feature of this scheme is there that I have an option either to make one-time payment, whatever amount I have to pay of this requisite sum, or even I get installment option. So this is a very welcome feature of this particular scheme. Finally, I have certain conditions also to comply with, and these particular conditions are in the nature of maybe some procedural conditions, some legal conditions, for some application also, some conditions which we will have to go through that. So let me now take you further to the scheme proper. So the question arises in our mind that, okay, what all acts are covered, what type of demand under which law is covered by this amnesty scheme. So it says relevant act is defined and relevant act all covered. So what I can go for the scheme is any demand pending under the Maharashtra VAT Act, any demand pending under the Central Sales Tax Act, then Bombay Sales Tax Act. Now we know that GST is implemented from 2017 July. From 2005 to 2017, MVAT Act was there, and prior to that, the Bombay Sales Tax was there. So even you may have, there are many pending litigations at even tribunal or court level. And at that point of time, say 5-10 crore was much of more value. So the person might have gone, but now that particular organization today may not be material 5-10 crore, and they want to settle certain demand, so they can go for this particular scheme even for dues for Bombay Sales Tax. Works contract tax. So there we had different laws prior to the VAT law, and under this law also, if any tax liability is there pending outstanding, you can go for lease sales tax, what we had up to 2005. Then we had another two laws, entry tax for motor vehicles and goods. It is also covered under the scheme. We had luxury tax act, tax payable on certain luxuries by the hotels, on certain tobacco or fabrics. The luxury tax was levied, so that may be also covered. Profession tax is also covered. Sugarcane purchase tax is also covered for the sugarcane, the sugar industry. Motor spirit taxation is covered up to, but the period is June 2017. So I have an opportunity that if I have an arrears, the demand pending, outstanding of the tax interest penalty under all these laws for the periods up to June 2017, I have an opportunity to go ahead with. So exactly what I will have to decide. If I feel that if whether I am in appeal or not, I can go for the benefit. Important point is, if I'm in appeal for some very legal issue and I feel that no, I have a I'm very confident to win that, I don't think one should go for the amnesty scheme. Secondly, if you feel that the money involved in the particular liability is huge and you are confident that no, you have a very uh, uh, plausible reasons, justifiable and all that, and you can very well go for the further appeals, then you continue those appeals instead of going for amnesty. But where you feel that no, I may have 50% chance of winning such a matter in the appeal, or there are some petty amounts and all that. So instead of wasting much time, I feel one should definitely go for the scheme. The scheme is really best. When we go through this, you will yourself realize for that. So let us first understand that if I have some demands outstanding, then what at all is covered under the amnesty scheme? So the important definition is, what is the arrears which is covered by this scheme. So it is defined that arrears means outstanding amount of tax. So any outstanding, payable, paid, not paid, pending for payment and all that, means outstanding amount of tax, interest, penalty or late fees as under. So the amount outstanding as per any statutory order, right, that is covered. Say you had a statutory order in which there was a demand for say 100, but you paid for 20 rupees. So the outstanding is 80 rupees. So arrear becomes 80 rupees, though the demand gross under the statutory order, under the relevant act, all the laws what we discussed, almost 11 laws, then that may be different amount. But today I'm in arrear for say 80 rupees under that particular statutory order, that is covered. This particular statutory order means what? It says any order passed. So it can be either an assessment order, it can be either a reassessment order, it can be a revision order, or it can be a appeal order as well. So any order passed under all these laws are covered. The nicety of this particular scheme is any order passed even up to 30th September 22 is covered. That means whatever orders were passed prior to March 22 before starting of the scheme, definitely covered. But somebody had a question in their mind before we got all this scheme, whether April to September 22, if any order is passed, maybe assessment, maybe revision, maybe appeal order in my case, say, first appeal order, a tribunal order, or even high court order. And if I receive this order before September, whether covered? Answer is yes, definitely covered. So this is again a welcome feature. For this, even this particular circular, see, which I have mentioned, the paras of circular 3.1, 3.4 and so on. This particular circular dated of yesterday, 20th April, it also says that for passing order also you can approach the concerned authorities. So very well, if suppose some authorities have not yet passed the order and you feel that there is a delay, maybe for whatever reason, and so in such a case, if you feel that no, you want to take benefit of the scheme, if at all the dues come, you write a letter quoting this paras and mentioning that please sir, expedite the proceeding, pass the order sooner, so I want to go for the amnesty scheme. So I think you will have to also pursue the authorities so that they pass the order expeditiously. The second type of dues covered are return dues. That means I have filed my returns, I have filed my revised returns, but the taxes are not paid. The revised returns might have been filed to reduce my original liability, or even some liabilities has been increased compared to the return. Everything is covered. Important point is all these returns should have been filed, whatever you have filed, whatever you want to take benefit, should have been filed prior to April 22. So if at all, say you have not filed certain returns, and if you file after April 22, say today, this particular return is not covered by this scheme, which please note. So any statutory order passed from April to September is covered, but return dues, you have to stick to all the returns filed prior to March 22, and then whatever is outstanding dues payable as per the admitted return dues is covered. Another aspect, the tax dues remained unpaid is an undisputed tax. That means suppose I had filed my return for 16, 17, 15, 16, I did not pay tax, but in that I mentioned the tax amount. What is my accepted liability? That particular tax liability becomes undisputed. That means I have to pay 100%. In detail, we will see in certain examples when we go through that. The third one is determined and recommended by the VAT auditor as payable in the audit report under the VAT law and accepted partially or wholly. So let me explain you this. Say in my case, audit was done by an auditor and finally recommended that you claim some additional set-off, you claim some additional refund. I think such orders we need not take for the amnesty, because now it also says about the benefit. But in some of the cases, the auditor said, no, you have to pay certain taxes here on some liability which you have not rightly calculated, or there was some classification issue, and now you have to make the payment of say 1 lakh, 10 lakhs, 10 crores, and so on. So such recommendation of for the payment, everything is covered. But what is covered and what is the benefit you can take? They say that if you have accepted partially or wholly. So we will see in detail when we take up that example that what do we mean by this. But it says whether recovery notice under section 32 or 32A of VAT Act is issued or not. Friends, when we file the VAT audit report, then that also had some statement of submission where I accepted certain recommendation of auditor, certain I have not accepted. But whatever I've accepted, the authority had an opportunity to issue the notice of recovery that, okay, the auditor said that here there are some payables, you have accepted partially, at least you pay partially, recovery notice was possible. So if notice is issued or not issued, everything is covered by this scheme. Amount recommended, tax liability accepted, that becomes undisputed. That means say 100 rupees was recommended by the VAT auditor. I accepted partially for 2-3 issues and the amount accepted is say 40 rupees. That 40 rupees becomes undisputed. We will see in detail this, that how I have to pay the accepted dues as undisputed and of balance unaccepted, how I have to deal with, which we will see in the example. The fourth one is such areas, that means all the above 3 areas include also the interest payable on admitted tax, right? So there is an admitted tax in returns, there is an admitted tax in say accepted liabilities under the VAT audit. So even if you count interest on that, that is also covered, for which the benefit you can take. And for your reference, I have just given here the para number of the circular, as well as I have given the rate of interest, because up to December 15, the rate of interest was 1.25% per month on the outstanding tax from the due date till the date of payment. But in December, there was some amendment to the rate of interest, and it said for first 1 month dues, the pending amount, the delay period is say 1 month, you have to pay 1.25%. And if it is say 15 days, you work out for 15 days at the rate of 1.25% per month. So you will pay the interest for 15 days. The second is the next 2 months, the delay continues, then you have to pay 1.5% per month for the next 2 months. And if yet the delay continues after now the 3 months, then from the 4th month onwards, 2% per month is the rate of interest. So one will have to be very careful in calculation because you are making payment of some percentage. If you make error even of a digit, then you will be not getting full benefit under the amnesty scheme. Next is I have cancelled notice issued or pending proceeding not covered, self-determination not covered. I'll take you to one example when I'm coming to explain about self-determination. So friends, all these three types of dues are covered, plus interest on admitted taxes covered as arrears. Now against these arrears, you might have made certain payments prior to March 22. You might have made certain payments even after March 22, after say from 1st April 22. Under the relevant act, then how I determine my real arrears? So for this, the provision is made in section 6 of this particular act, which says, at verbatim I put here for your reference, it reads like any payment made in respect of a statutory order. So friends, any payment made against any dues against of the statutory order, either in appeal or otherwise. That means if you have filed appeal, you might have made as part payment. If you have not filed appeal, you might have just paid as some installments, or you wanted to pay in your own way as and when possible. Then in that case, the payment what you make, you have made is covered till 31st March 22. So any payment made up to March 22 will have to be worked out like this, that how to adjust, because my statutory order will have a demand of tax, interest, penalty and so on of say 10 crores. Now I have made 50 lakhs rupees as first payment. How to adjust? So it says first any payment should be adjusted towards undisputed tax. Very good. Then disputed tax, then thereafter towards interest and penalty and late fee sequentially. So this is a very important provision because under the relevant act there was a provision, say section 40, which said any payment made will be first adjusted against say penalty, then interest and then tax. It was in reverse way. So to give a benefit to the person who has already made some payments, this is a nice provision overriding the regular relevant acts provision for adjustment. So any payment made will be first adjusted again undisputed tax. That means 100% which I am supposed to pay, if already paid something, fine, I'll be getting relief from that. Circular is also mentioning this. After adjustment as above, the outstanding areas on 1/4/22 shall be considered for settlement under the scheme. Right. Then a above sequence of adjustment to be followed in the same way for even return dues and audit report recommended dues. That means this particular sequence of adjustment is to be followed for statutory order as well as for return dues as well as for the audit report recommended dues. So very good. It really gives benefit to the taxpayer. The next one is any payment made up to March 22 shall not be considered as requisite sum payment. However, it has to be adjusted as above. That means any payment made up to March 22, it will be adjusted like this, what we have just discussed, but it will not be treated and taken as a requisite sum payment under the scheme, and rightly so, because the scheme itself is made operative from April 22. So any payment made after April 22 can be considered. Now see, the nice part is here. Any recovery made by the nodal officer or any payment made by you on any account during the scheme shall be treated as requisite amount, and application if you make for settlement, it will be considered as requisite amount. So suppose whatever I made the payment up to March 22, I take deductions like this and then come out with the final arrears. But suppose during the scheme, say April 22 to September 22, if some nodal officer of my jurisdiction takes the recovery measures and recovers something from my account, my business, or they attach my bank account and they recover directly, or they attach my some debtors and recover directly from my debtors, in that case, whatever recovery they have done after April 22 will be treated as my payment of requisite sum. So very good that if I want to go for the benefit under the scheme, whatever is recovered has to be taken as requisite sum payment from April 20 for the scheme benefit. Of course, if I don't apply for the scheme, that means I do not want to take benefit of such recovery as requisite sum. Maybe for whatever reason, considering the facts of each case, one will have to take a call. It also says that any part payment made in appeal filed after April 22 and appeal not withdrawn will not be treated as payment of requisite amount. Rightly so, because I do not want to pursue this to this scheme, but I want to uh, object to the demand, and I take up this particular objection by way of filing appeal. So if any part payment is made and appeal not withdrawn, it is not a requisite sum payment after April 22. The corollary is, if at all, say I make the part payment in appeal but I withdraw the appeal, in that case this will be treated as a requisite sum payment and I can take benefit as per the scheme. So this is one nice aspect cleared by the circular issued yesterday. Going further, so when I come to know that, okay, earlier I say areas I work out of areas I worked out, adjustment of any payment made prior to March or post March, how to take care is also done. So now I am aware that now this is my total outstanding amount and I am now have to pay this, and of which I want to take benefit of the scheme. So now I have to decide and determine that what is the undisputed tax and what is the disputed tax. So for this there are definitions which says disputed tax means other than undisputed tax. Fine. So let me now try to understand what is undisputed tax. And undisputed tax is defined like this. First of all, tax is collected separately. So if you have collected the taxes separately by way of raising an invoice or bill or by a debit note also, then this is called a tax collection. And if you have collected any tax, then it will be treated as undisputed tax. And this particular undisputed tax I have to pay fully, as we saw earlier. So I will not get any benefit of this particular tax collected separately. So right now we are focusing on the term undisputed tax, which I'll have to pay fully 100%, no benefit of waiver, and I have to pay this. If I don't pay undisputed tax, definitely I cannot go further to take benefit of the scheme. So I'll be out of the scheme. So undisputed tax, first is tax collected separately. The next one is tax deduction claimed by the dealer in the returns or in any proceeding. So if I have not collected tax separately, I raise my invoice 1 lakh rupees lump sum and I sell my goods. Now in this scenario, the law also gives me the deduction of tax. On 1 lakh, I will not pay 15% if the tax is 15%. So I am not to pay 15%, 15,000 rupees, but I will treat 1 lakh as inclusive of tax. So I will be paying, say, around 14,000 and odd. So instead of paying for 15, I pay somewhat lesser. That means I treat my sale consideration received under the relevant law as inclusive of tax. And when I claim the tax deduction out of my sale consideration, either in the returns or in any proceeding. So if in return I have taken like that, yet it is treated as a tax deduction claimed by me, or in any proceeding of, say, assessment or appeal or so. In such a scenario, if I have claimed this, it is treated again as undisputed tax payable 100% fully. The law of this amnesty scheme is silent. It says tax deduction claimed by the dealer. If not claimed by you, but allowed in any assessment order or appeal order, the scheme is silent. So in my view, very crystal clear wordings in the law of the Amnesty Act, and reading by that, if you have not claimed in the returns, if you have not claimed in any proceeding or in your workings, yet the officer gives, can be treated as disputed tax, because I will say it is not undisputed tax. The next one is taxes shown as payable in the return or revised return. Correct. So what does it mean? That I have myself admitted my tax liability in the return or filing revised returns. So it says tax is undisputed, this particular liability which I have accepted, but interest, penalty or so late fees are disputed amount eligible for the benefit. So good that at least interest part is eligible, undisputed tax I'll have to pay fully. Amount forfeited by the statutory order or excess tax collection shown in the return or revised return or VAT audit report. That means that if I have collected the taxes extra, something was not taxable, I collected the tax, or something was taxable at say 8%, 10%, but I collected 15%, maybe classification issues or so, and ultimately say it turned out to be payable at lower amount. In that case, extra tax collection is liable for forfeiture under the law, and this particular excess tax collection you cannot pocket, but it will have to be paid as undisputed tax fully to the exchequer. This is very important. VAT auditor's recommendation to pay tax, which is accepted by the auditee either wholly or partly. So this says that if the auditor had recommended that, okay, you pay this much tax, you pay this much interest, obviously auditor will not tell you about the payment of any penalties and so on. So the maximum it can be the late fees or interest and taxes. If you have not accepted, plainly understanding this particular clause, it means if I'm not accepted, I'm not accepting my any recommendation of my auditor, VAT auditor, then in that case, this particular, I'm out of this clause. If I've accepted wholly, I'm completely into this clause. If I've accepted partly, then I'm in the clause to the extent of my acceptance. Right? Let me give an example. Say 100 rupees is the tax liability recommended by the VAT auditor to pay, and 30 rupees is the interest. 130 he says you pay. Out of 100, if I accept wholly, I'm into this clause, auditor's recommendation to pay the tax of say 100 rupees, and I'm accepting that 100 rupees, so I'll have to pay as undisputed tax. Suppose I accept partially. I accept that, okay, out of 100, I am accepting 70 rupees, but I'm not accepting 30 rupees. In that case, 70 becomes the undisputed tax because I've accepted partially. And if you have not accepted anything, the entire amount does not become undisputed tax reading this particular clause, right? I'll take you through the circular, some paras, where they have given some different interpretation, and for this, some recommendation, some representation to the commissioner is definitely required for this aspect, which we will try to understand in detail. TDS deducted on works contract by the contractee and TCS collected under the VAT law. So this TDS and TCS under the sales tax laws, VAT laws. So this particular, if TDS is deducted, that becomes my undisputed tax. TCS collected becomes undisputed tax. The question arises in our mind, if I have not deducted TDS, if I have not collected TCS, in that case, obviously, if deducted, it becomes undisputed. If not deducted, forgot, automatically the reading comes to that it becomes disputed, right? So this is the way I look at it. The second last is the tax payable by the profession tax EC holder and tax deducted by the profession tax RC holder, the employees from the salary wages which they pay. So even this tax deducted by PT is a undisputed. Suppose somebody had not deducted from salary, automatically the meaning comes out and reading comes of this particular act that it becomes disputed. The last one is set of restriction under 52A, some package scheme of incentive manufactured goods, the mega unit and so on, were getting the benefits, and down the line the benefits were passed on. And there was a rule 52B also regarding the aerated drinks, cigarettes and mobiles. These three types of goods, say when I purchased, there was an amendment that in the year of purchase you will not get full set off, but you will get the set off only to the extent of sales. So I purchased quantity 1 lakh pieces, sold in the first year, say first month or first year, say 30%, only 30% of my purchases I get the ITC, and the balance has to be carried forward in next year. Next month I sell, say 40%, you will get in that month. So I have to work out and carry forward. That is the particular this rules which says if you were following this and there was denial of certain set off, even that particular restricted amount is also covered by the scheme. You can take the benefit if you want to take under this particular scheme. So these are the types of the situations where one can say this particular amounts will be treated as undisputed tax, you have to pay fully, but other than this can be treated as disputed tax. So let us see what can be the examples of disputed tax. The first one is disallowance of the set off. Say I claim some set off, the authority says no, you cannot get. The auditor says no, you cannot get. All this is covered. Then suppose there was a matching done of J1, J2, like what we today do under the GST. Under the VAT law also the matching was done. I have shown my set off of the taxes paid to my supplier of say 100 rupees, but my certain suppliers have not filed the returns, not paid the taxes, or say they have run away and they do not they are not there so that the authorities can chase and recover that particular tax from them. In such a scenario, my set off will be disallowed. So this disallowed set off becomes the disputed tax, and the benefit is I have not to pay fully, but I have to pay partially, which we will see in the subsequent slides. So this is the benefit. So this is not the undisputed tax. I have not to pay fully. I get some relief on payment of some amount. Additional demand on account of non-production of the CST forms. Friends, we all know that prior to GST, under the CST law, we had certain concessional forms which we could utilize for interstate sales. In that case, if I have sold under C form, lower tax compared to the normal tax, and I had charged say 2%, I stock transferred my goods to my own branch situated in other state or to my agent under F forms, or sale in transit transactions, C and even forms and so on. So all these particular forms which I had supplied on, but finally I am unable to procure these particular forms from my customers and I am unable to produce that before the authority. So that is disallowed and I am charged with higher taxes. So all this extra tax demand comes for non-production of the CST forms is treated as disputed tax. Benefit is there for shorter payment. Certain claims disallowed, for example, stock transfers. Some say no, it is not a stock transfer, but it is a taxable sale, interstate sale. High C sales I did, the authority says no, either you have no documents to prove, you have no all documents to prove, or this particular transaction is not fitting into the limbs of the CST law. It is not a high C sale, but taxable supply. Tax-free sales. says, no, you are not fulfilled certain conditions of the schedule entry or the notification entry by which you are out of the tax-free classification, but your sale become the taxable, it's not exports or not a deemed export, and so on. I say it is my service charges, labor charges, I am paying service tax on it, I should get deduction, and then there is a problem. This particular claim of labor charges is disallowed, maybe for whatever reason. All this is treated as a disputed tax claims eligible for lower tax payment under the amnesty, and benefit can be taken for the waiver of some balance amount. Classification issues, rate of tax, enhancement in taxable sales turnover, and VAT levied on service tax element in case of works contract composition, right? We all know that on a particular consideration, service tax was also levied, VAT was also levied. The authorities went on further saying that VAT is not only leviable on the sale consideration, but VAT is also leviable on the service tax component element which you have collected separately because you are in composition scheme, and so on. So even all this type of the problems and the litigations or disallowances can be treated as disputed tax eligible for lower payment. And obviously all this we talked about the taxes, but any interest, penalty or late fee is a disputed dues. Mind well, it is not disputed tax, but these are the disputed dues, and of which I am eligible to take the benefit under the scheme on paying lower amount. So having understood the term arrears, having understood the term disputed, undisputed and all that, then how much I have to pay? After bifurcating all these types of outstanding amounts, now I'm ready with the data. Now how much I have to pay for this? The particular definition says, okay, you pay requisite sum. How much? Then this particular says amount payable or aggregate amount paid during the period. That means if whatever you are making the payment, it should be made in April to September 22. Undisputed tax, you have to pay fully. So as we bifurcated, and now I have the amount of undisputed tax, I myself say it is undisputed as per the scheme, and I'll have to pay fully 100%, no waiver of any sum. Okay, then from the disputed tax, I get some benefit that whatever is disputed, interest, penalty, whether levied or not, right? This is very important. Suppose some interest amount is levied or not, but yet payable, then I will not pay full 100%. Out of this, I will pay specified percentage. And where I'll get it from? There is annexure A and B, which I'll look into it. And for entry tax, there is a separate section giving the benefit that you are not to go by annexure, but a separate provision, which we'll see. Requisite amount shall be paid using the challans as per the law or MTR 6, and this is our procedural aspect. That is also to be paid online, and the FAQs and all that user manual give guidance to this. Okay, so now I'm aware that okay, this is the undisputed, this is disputed, and I have to pay the as per the annexure. So let me see that arrears from up to March 2005, a separate annexure. From April 5 to June 17, a separate annexure. So let us see the first annexure and see that how much I have to pay and how much I'll get the waiver. So for this annexure, A says, if your arrears are pertaining to the period 2005 to 17, the VAT regime, follow annexure A. But if it is for periods prior to VAT regime, that was the Bombay Sales Tax regime, up to March 2005 period liability, follow the annexure B. Annexure A tells you to make some more payment. Annexure B gives you a lower payment to be made. So beneficial, obviously. Old period, even government wants that, okay, you take more benefit, but you get rid of the liability and litigations, and we get the revenue. Section 10 provides time limit for the due dates of payment of requisite sum and making the application in case of one-time payment option and installment option. We'll see that. Another one beneficial aspect is the government said, okay, if your arrears are only up to 10,000 rupees, we will not ask you to pay, we will write it off. A small person and up to 10,000, I think even they would have made 1 lakh would have been better, but well, they have made only up to 10,000. So any statutory order and the demand outstanding is as on April 22 up to 10,000 or less per financial year under any relevant law is to be written off. Even post assessment interest on it will not be levied. Correct. So this they will write it off, and the concerned joint commissioner will write it off on his own. You have not to do anything. You have not to make any application. The dealers will be intimated of the write-offs by the designated authority by June 22. So you'll come to know that, okay, this particular liability is not there. It is mentioned in para 6 of the circular dated 20th April. It further says that no such write-off of dues of 10,000 if it is as per returns. Friends, the writing off of 10,000 is only for the statutory order arrears. If you have returns arrears, it will not be written off. Even 5,000 is there, it will be collected and you can go for the scheme. If the arrears are as per the VAT audit report 9,000, no writing off, you'll have to follow the particular scheme. Or statutory order passed after April 22 and there is a demand of say 9,000 rupees, even that is not covered because the clause says outstanding as on April 22. That means the order should have been passed prior to that and you should be in arrears as on 1/4/22. So all these three eventualities are not covered for writing off even for 10,000 rupees or less. Be careful. So now let me take you through Annexure A. Friends, I will devote much time in explaining the law, explaining the provisions, principles, the legal aspects rather than procedural. Procedure is very simple. You can go through the user manual and let it be applied for. So in my notes I have mentioned, but certain slides I'll not speak on. I'll try to complete in the time allotted to me. So first let me take you through Annexure A, which is pertaining to the arrears for the periods from 2005 to 2017 June. So these columns I have made serial number particulars, one-time payment option, I call it as OTP option, how much I will have to pay, how much I'll be waived off, how much benefit I'll get. Same way installment option applies where the arrears are more than 50 lakhs rupees. Mind well, any arrears for any order. Now this, say I have 2-3 orders and every order is less than 50 lakhs, then not covered. But if any order is more than this 50 lakhs, this is covered. So that means let me see that how much I have to pay and how waiver will be given. So these arrears, if the undisputed tax are there, then 100% to be paid in both the options, no waiver of a single rupee, right? If the tax is disputed tax, so other than undisputed is the disputed tax, you have to pay 50% and 50% will be waived off. But if you opt for the installment option, which you are eligible for, in that scenario, you will be paying 56% instead of 50 because 6% you are paying more because you are getting some installment facility. So government is losing some interest into that. So 6% is in the nature of interest. So the waiver will be 44. Then comes interest payable as per any statutory order or returns or reverse returns. You just pay 15%. So work out entire tax liability or whatever is there as per the order, pay only 15%, 85% is knocked off. Both the options the same. Penalty, as per any statutory order, you pay just 5%, 95% is written off, knocked off. But you have to pay 5%. Both the options the same. Question arises, self-determination not covered. That means, suppose I know that I have filed my audit report late, and because of that, I am liable for penalty for late filing of audit report under section 61 at the 0.1% of the turnover. If order is passed by levying of penalty, that is covered. But if order is not passed, I cannot on my own work out and pay as self-determination, because this which was covered in the last 2019 scheme, in 2022 scheme, it is not covered. I don't know for whatever reason, but it is not covered. So what you have to do? You ask the authority to pass an order. Write a letter, ask him to pass an order, and on getting the order, you can definitely pay 5% and 95% will be waived off. Post-assessment interest and penalty, which is leviable but not levied till the date of happiness. This is very important. You have not to pay a single rupee. So if you go for amnesty scheme, suppose, let me give an example. What is post-assessment interest? Say when the assessment was taken up for say 13-14, in the year say 15-16, and the order was passed, there was a demand of say 1 crore of rupees tax. Plus that some interest was paid, some payments were made late, so interest was charged. But there was yet outstanding amount of 1 crore on which the officer levied, the assessing officer levied the interest up to the date of assessment order. And then you get 30 days time to pay that outstanding. But because of financial crunch, I could not make the payment. Today also it is outstanding. If I don't go for the scheme, then the authority has all the powers to recover the interest on that balance outstanding tax of 1 crore rupees from the date of the due date of that assessment dues, which I was supposed to pay within 30 days. And I am now paying, say, after the scheme is over, the government can recover interest even on that from that order date till date of payment. So if I go for the amnesty scheme, I will be getting benefit of zero payment, 100% waiver will be there. So this is a nicety of this. I have not to work out also, it is automatic. Late fees payable, again 5% pay and 95% is to be waived off. Here is one more beneficial clause of making lump sum payment. Now this says that this particular statutory order was passed and there are certain arrears, and if these arrears are up to 10 lakhs rupees, right? So it reads like this. Let me read out the clause carefully. Where the amount of arrears as per any statutory order is up to 10 lakhs rupees, applicant may opt for lump sum payment at 20% instead of paying the requisite sum, working out like this. So instead of, if you work out like this, suppose payment is 100 rupees, but if you work out like this 20%, the payment is coming to say 70, you pay 70 rupees, you'll be getting rid of the balance liability. How it is to be looked into, we'll see. Mind well, this is only applicable to statutory order dues, not the return dues or not the VAT audit report dues. Then I come to Annexure B. Up to March 2005, same way, one-time payment, more than 50 lakhs dues, I go for installment. And then undisputed, no benefit, pay 100%. Disputed, you pay 30%. So we saw in last slide that I was to make 50%, here it is 30%. So mind well, the benefit is 70%. And this is the major benefit which I am getting. 34% I am to pay in installments, only 4% extra, but I get the benefit of installment, huge liability. And one can plan the working capital and make some payments in installment. Interest, same. Instead of 15, I am now paying 10, 90 is waived off. Then penalty I pay 5, 95 is waived off. Again here no self-determination. Interest post-assessment or penalty post-assessment 0 to be paid, fully it will be waived off. Late fees, no question, it was not there earlier. Then here also, if my dues are less than 10 lakhs rupees, up to 10 lakh rupees, up to March 2005 also is covered, pay 20% and get rid of. Now, let me take you through examples. Now, the first case study which I am taking upon is about arrears up to 10 lakh rupees as per the statutory order. Friends, the circular of 20th April also gives some examples, but I have worked out separately so that you can also get benefit of more examples. They have also given very good examples in the circular. Please go through that, and that will add on to our understanding. So this, I have also mentioned here that circular's first example also is of the similar nature. So in this example, I have taken both the periods 5 to 17 or prior to 5. So as per Annexure A and Annexure B, I have worked out here. Say this statutory order, either the assessment order or the appeal order, whatever. So as per that order, undisputed was 1 lakh rupees. So if one-time payment I have to make, say 17, it is 100% payable. So 1 lakh here payable, 1 lakh here payable, no waiver. Fine. Disputed tax is say 7 lakh rupees. Of this, I have to pay 50% here, so I'll pay 3.5. Here I'll pay 30%, so I'll pay 2.1 lakhs. Balance will be waived off. Third one is say interest 1 lakh. I'll pay just 15%. Here I'll pay 10% because the period is older one. So I pay 10,000 here, 90,000 I have to waive. I get the waiver, so benefit. Penalty 60,000 was levied. 5% I have to pay 3,000. Both the places the same. Late fees here say 5% I pay worker. So against my total demand and arrears of 9,70,000 for the first Annexure A tells me that you pay 4,68,000, you will be getting waiver of 5 lakhs. Old period I pay 3,23,000, lesser amount, and I get more waiver. But this particular last option of say lump sum payment says if the statutory order is having the demand up to 10 lakh rupees, instead of working out like this, simply work out of this 20%, pay that, balance will be waived off. So instead of 468, I pay 1,94,000, either in both the options, and this I will be saving further amount. So here the waiver will be 7,76,000. I have worked out 80% benefit of my this total dues. So I pay 20% of this, 80% is waived off. So this is the benefit which you can get and get rid of the liabilities. Well, I got some calls from my friends that whether in the application have I to show 20% lump sum or I have to bifurcate all this 20% and so on. For this, there is no some clarification given neither in circular not online also. But let us await. We will make some representation to the commissioner and get some clarification onto that. Second case study I've taken of areas above 50 lakhs. Now this is comparable with example 2 of circular, and this I am taking you through the assuming that this particular 50 lakhs above liabilities for the period 5 to 17. So I am applying Annexure A here. Say it figures are like this. Undisputed tax I have to pay 100%. So I say okay, 1,23,000 payable. 2 crore demand of disputed tax as per this particular example. So I will pay 50% here. Here I'll pay 56%, 6% extra. Okay, interest I pay 15, penalty 5, late fees 5. So against my 2 crore 24 lakhs liability, I will be paying only 1 crore 6 lakhs. And this 1 crore 6 lakhs, if I pay, I'll be waiving off my liability of 1 crore 17 lakhs. This I am paying one-time option. How I'll pay? I'll pay this sum before September 22 and I will apply as per the scheme. I will get waiver of 1 crore 17 lakhs, right? But suppose I don't have that much fund right now. I'll have to plan my working capital. And accordingly, the scheme says, okay, before September 22, you pay 25% of this. So 1119 is worked out as per this example. And against 1119, I just pay 29 lakh 80,000, 1/4, 25% minimum of this prior to September. Then I am given the option of next 3 installments. Okay, pay in quarterly installments, which is that December again 25%, March 23 again 25, and last installment prior to June. So in this way, I pay off 1 crore 19 lakhs and 105 lakhs I will be getting a waiver on that. So a very good scheme if somebody wants to get rid of the litigation and outstanding demands, one can plan this way. Same example I've taken for the period up to March 2005, right? Same, I've taken the same figures. So finally here, as per my Annexure B, one time I have to pay 64 lakhs. So earlier, how much I was paying? I was paying 1 crore 6 lakhs. But if this pertains to my period up to March 2005, I am simply paying 64 lakhs. Waiver is of 1 crore 59 lakhs. Same way, if I go for the installment because it is more than 50 lakhs, then I can pay like this and I can be getting benefit of 1 crore 50 lakhs. Let me take you through 4th case study. Sir, is it all okay? My speed and my voice is clear? Anybody? Excuse me, anybody? Hello? Is anybody there? Let me check up.
Hello.
Yeah. I just asked, is it all going proper? Hello?
Clear, sir.
Clear, no? No issue, no?
No issue, sir. Start. Continue, sir.
Fine, fine. Thank you, thank you. Okay. So now let me take you through 4th case study to understand that if my returns arrears are there, how I will apply this scheme. And this returns arrears are as on say 31st March 22. And the data goes like this. This circular's example number 3 is comparable for this. So here I've made some assumptions and I have made some questions here which are put in red, which needs to be discussed and analyzed. Say period is 1617 and I want to work out, so I have to go by Annexure A. The data of returns outstanding dues is as on 1/5/22, right? So I'm just assuming that okay, in May I will go for the scheme. Question is assessment not yet done. So this is surprising that if you have filed returns, assessment not done. So if assessment done, then you're not to go by this. You follow as per your order, the earlier example which we went through. But suppose the assessment is not done for any reason, or it is pending, and there is no order. In that case, the returns are there, admitted dues are there. And now let me take you through some eventualities that how the demand can be there. See, taxes collected separately or tax deduction claimed by you In MVAT law, it is 5 lakhs rupees liability. CST is 2 lakh rupees liability. So let me understand that applying the definition of arrears, I say that, and the undisputed, disputed definitions and so on. So I say that as it is a tax collection and a tax deduction claim, so 5 lakh and 2 lakh, I'll have to pay 100%, 5 lakh and 2 lakh. I will not get any benefit or waiver of any sum. Okay, tax is not collected separately. In that case, I have not taken deduction also. I have said 1 lakh payable under MVAT, CST was 0. Now here it says, though tax is not collected separately, but you yourself have shown as taxes payable in the returns. Once you are accepting that liability, even the definition of the term undisputed tax covers this, which we have seen in the definition, and I have to pay 100%, 1 lakh rupees. Third one is TDS on works contract deducted, 2 lakh rupees. I'll have to pay that 2 lakh fully. No waiver into that. So against my gross liability of 8 lakhs and 2 lakhs here, I'll be paying here 8 lakhs and 2 lakhs. Then comes the set off claim. Now here, I'd claim 2 lakh rupees set off, which I say that it is proper claims, and I will say I will get deduction. So finally, I'm supposed to pay 6 lakhs, and I'm here paying say 6 lakhs under the scheme. Question arises here. After claiming of 2 lakh set off, I have certain say other set offs also, or I might have claimed, and I say that certain set off claimed, but suppliers may not be genuine. In that scenario, maybe that I will be liable at a future date. Can I get rid of that? Can it be treated as undisputed, or can it be treated as disputed? Question arises in my mind. What to do and how to do. Same way, suppose I have sold certain goods on C forms by virtue of which there is a 2 lakh rupees liability. But now I feel that out of some such sales, some customers may not give me C forms or F forms or H forms for exports they had taken. And some forms which I have received are even defective forms. And when I'm pursuing my customers, they are not answering to me. In such a scenario, I see that though this is my accepted liability in returns, this may be my additional liability over and above this 6 lakhs. Can I do anything of this? Answer is no. The reason is, whatever returns you have filed, you have to stick to that. If you want even this to be included, pursue the officer, get the assessment done, get the statutory order, fall in the case study like 1 or 2 and so on. But so far as this is concerned, on my own, I cannot do anything and all that. So I will have to stick to all this only. This problem will remain. So in this scenario, 6 lakhs, 2 lakhs payable, I say 6 and 2 only has to be paid 100%. Point is, interest, how much I have to pay? On 6 lakhs rupees, have I to work out interest on tax dues to be calculated up to March 22 or up to the date of payment? Right? So here the question arises that 6 lakhs rupees is my accepted liability of 1670. Today I'm in April 22. Almost 5 years have passed. 5 years I have not paid amount. And if you work out as per those interest rate, my interest will be more than my tax amount. What to do? In my returns which I filed, I had shown certain interest as liability, or I filed my returns in time. So in that I did not show any interest liability. Or I had filed my returns say 3 months late, so I showed interest for 3 months outstanding, not paid. File the returns. So today have I to work out the interest up to March 22 because this particular says up to March 22 covered. So balance have I not to work out? Now here some interpretation issues are coming. One, class of thought says that I have to work out only up to March 22, and after that I'm not to work. But another reading is coming that I will have to work out the interest up to the date of payment, real payment. Suppose if you are paying this in April, you have to work out up to April. You are paying in August, you have to work out up to end August 22 of the admitted tax. And in that scenario, the second view is you have to work out and pay. In my view, be cautious, be careful, and it is better to work out up to the date of payment because you are paying only 15%. So even if you work out 1 lakh rupees more, you are simply paying 15,000 rupees and you are saving your 85% onto that. So please be careful, have such a reading, and be somewhat lenient for payment and get rid of the higher liability. So here I work out say 8 lakhs and here I work out interest 3 lakhs. Of 8 lakhs, 15% 120, 3 lakhs 15% 45. I'll pay this sum. If I pay this amount under the scheme, prior to the duration of the scheme is over, say September 22, in that scenario, I will pay this much amount and this amount will be waived off. So I get waiver of 49% here. In this CST, I am getting 50%. So almost you are paying 50% and balance 50% is waived off. Let me take you through another important type of dues, arrears as per the VAT audit report. Now this case study is in 2 slides. This slide and the subsequent, so I have put here, carried forward and brought forward. This case study you can compare with example 4 of the circular of 20th April. And this case study I have assumed 16-17 as the period. And this para of circular also you can read, understand, very much detail they have given. And audit report might be updated 30th September 22 also covered. I might have audited today, no problem. If as per the VAT audit report areas are, you can go for. So returns at March 22 cutoff, but here there is no cutoff. This is, I feel like, the statutory order passed even in September 22 covered. Fine. So I say that dues as per the VAT audit report 704 and statement of submission uploaded, because see in this case I have assumed that financial year 16-17 I was audited. The report was uploaded in December 17, filed manually that statement of submission in January 18, and I had complied with. Now what the VAT auditor had done, the VAT auditor said that you have to make additional payment, and this table 5 of the VAT audit report required that to the auditor. So when I see table 5, I find this 3-4 types of my demands or my some disallowances as per the VAT auditor, and he recommended. The first one is, he said pay additional tax on certain sale invoices which you have not properly accounted for. Invoices are there and it had missed filing in the returns. So 1 lakh rupees is that particular recommended tax. CST, there is no such problem. I say, okay, I have accepted 1 lakh. So as per the scheme, accepted 1 lakh, which becomes undisputed, I pay 100%. So 1 lakh, I am making the payment of requisite sum. So these 2 columns are recommended under VAT and CST. This is accepted. And here I am working out my amnesty scheme liability. Second one, he says pay additional tax on machinery rentals. You are given machinery on rent. You have the income of rental. And there is a sale of some old motor car or furniture which you have not paid taxes. So he says 2 lakh rupees. I am not accepting that. See here. He said 2 lakh I am not accepting for whatever reason. Whatever reason. Now the question is here, and here is some interpretation issue which needs some representation also to the commissioner. Now what? Let me tell you. The definition says of arrears, if you read three definitions, arrears, undisputed, and disputed, then automatically the reading comes like this. If you have accepted, it is undisputed, pay 100%. But where you are not accepted, in that case, not accepted, can you say it is no arrears at all? One reading comes like this. If you read and analyze these three definitions, it comes that where you have not accepted, actually it is not arrears. Because that is not percolating in any statutory order also. They have not assessed you. If they have assessed you, will be a statutory order, you're out of this. But they have not assessed you for whatever reason. In that scenario, one reading comes that there is no arrears, you're not to pay anything. Or second reading comes that if you have not accepted, it means whatever is accepted, it is undisputed, pay 100%. Corollary, whatever you have not accepted can be treated as disputed, because the definition of the term is very peculiar, residual in nature. Undisputed, this. Disputed other than undisputed. So I can say that something which is not disputed automatically becomes, something which is not undisputed automatically becomes disputed by applying two definitions. One can say it is just taking care of both the situations. So I think you can say that yes, now 2 lakh you have not accepted, that becomes disputed, and of that disputed, you are in 1617, pay 50%, so pay 1 lakh rupees. Or third interpretation, and this third interpretation is given in this circular, and this third interpretation says you have to classify this particular sum into undisputed tax and disputed tax as explained in para 3.6, and develop this, the designated authority in charge of your case will also verify such classification. So the commissioner has explained in this circular, clarified in the circular of yesterday, stating that if you have not accepted something, now you have to go to further classification, that whether it is undisputed or disputed. So you'll have to see whether you have collected tax or you have not collected, whether you have taken any deduction of tax or not. And so in this manner, you have to classify. Same way, pay additional tax due to error in classification, wrong tax payment, you paid lesser. So he said 3 lakh rupees, I accepted 1 lakh, so 1 lakh becomes undisputed. But what about 3 minus 1, 2 lakh? So the circular says for 2 lakh you again bifurcate into disputed, undisputed, and pay that. The next one is high C sales disallowance, 4 lakh rupees, 5 lakh rupees. So here high C sales were not as per the law in view of auditor. I have not accepted that I will pay. Your auditor's view is pay. I say no, my transaction is proper. I'm perfectly fitting into the CST law. But then if I want to go for the amnesty, is it not accepted or no arrears or classify as per above? So here is a challenge. And as we saw the examples of this, you will have to say if you are not collected tax, you can say now disputed, now pay 50%. So well, one reading comes that no, once you are not accepted, it is not arrears as per the scheme. Well, what to do? I think here representation is needed, and I have taken here examples. So in this particular scenario, I feel we will have to seek a clarification, giving the interpretation to the commissioner, and let us see how he comes out. So in this case, going further, again a problem is that okay, whatever payment I have made, I will be definitely getting deduction against first undisputed and then disputed tax and also on. And here again the question of interest payability. Now interest is payable, the period is 16-17, the interest is payable from October 16 or October 17, or the VAT audit report date was up to December or up to March 22 the scheme, or even say the date of payment. This particular para 3.6 of circular says no, you will have to pay up to the date of payment. So work out the interest up to the date of payment and take 15% as payable sum, 85% you can get rid of. So well, this is a very important point. Here post assessment interest is exempt, but this is not interest based on the statutory order. This is the interest on the VAT audit recommendation. So this is not waived off. I will have to make some payment, 15%. And another one in this very example, in this circular, para 3.6 says so something very important. And this again needs a representation, which says if statutory order is passed after the VAT audit, even then accepted recommended amount is to be classified as undisputed and pay fully. I beg to differ here. The reason is, once the VAT audit report was there and thereafter the statutory order is passed, assessment, appeal, whatever, then finality is to that statutory order. I have now not to look upon at all at the VAT audit report. Yet they say, no, you look upon. I might have accepted something even during VAT audit, but when the assessment is taken up, I am now more wise, and I say, no, I am not to pay. Can I not object? So here there is some, again, interpretation issue. But friends, this being a scheme, I feel that one will have to be careful rather than applying. This is not a law to go in a court and all that. Of course, interpretation for that you can go. But as this is a scheme, we will have to represent to the commissioner and seek his clarification further into this matter. Well, let me take you through entry tax. Now, entry tax is very peculiarly giving the benefit of the scheme. They say that if statutory order is there for entry tax, then you work out the tax liability as per entry tax, I mean the statutory order, or whatever set of retention you have to apply for, right? I will not devote much time onto this. If some question is there, I'll try to answer. This particular settlement for entry tax is separate other than motor vehicles. So for motor vehicles, you have to look at Annexure A and B, but for other goods, the air conditioners and so on, certain products were liable for entry tax, iron and steel, tiles and all that. So that says that, okay, so ultimately the nutshell, whatever is the retention sum 5354, I will have to go for the amnesty and I will pay off. And for this, the scheme says for interest and penalty under this statutory order, apply the Annexure AB. So for tax, I will work out separately as per this. For interest penalty, again, I'll look at to the annexure and work out the requisite sum. Statutory order under entry tax is only to be considered and no other order and all. Lump sum installment is not applicable here. So for entry tax settlement, you cannot say it is up to 10 lakhs, so I'll pay 20%. No, that does not apply here. Installment also is not given for this entry tax waiver. You will have to make one-time payment, and circular 8.2 para clarifies this. Okay, this particular working you'll do for statutory order for entry tax, but suppose there is no order, but there was only returns, entry tax returns you had filed and return dues, then they say, okay, don't go by this, follow the Annexure A and B of the scheme. Post assessment benefit here is also given to interest and penalty, no need to compute. Finally, the waiver will be like this, which I have mentioned here, and you will have to make the payment. And here is one example also. This is already shared with you. So finally, if I can explain that, suppose entry tax or tiles or air conditioner or iron and steel was say 10 lakhs, of which the set of restriction is 4 lakhs. So in nutshell, out of 10 lakhs, 4 lakhs I'm eligible for input tax set off under the VAT law. So finally, real liability is 6 lakhs. So they say, okay, so whatever is the retention sum, sorry, 10 lakhs out of that 4 lakhs is only the retention. So 6 lakhs rupees, as it is getting the set off. So whatever amount I'm not getting set off, that is becoming the tax liability burden which I had not paid. So I'm eligible for the scheme as arrears. So I say work out 4 lakhs. So here I will pay 4 lakhs payable, lesser of these two, 4 lakhs payable. Then I work out the interest also, and based on that 15 and 5, I will make this payment. So finally, against 19 lakhs, I will pay 4 lakh 30,000. Balance I will be getting waiver of this. So far as this entry tax is there, fine. Now, last 10 minutes, I'll try to take you through my further slides. Much not of, I'll not speak on the procedural things. You can read it. Something is mentioned in my slides also. But important aspects only let me touch upon and try to wind up in next 10 minutes. So the duration of the scheme, it says April to September. So it says you make the payment for one-time option between April and September, and installment minimum 25%. Remaining in 3 equal installment, we saw in example also. If you make the late payment of installments, the next 3 installments you have to pay. The first one up to that, say, you have to make the payment before December. The first, second installment. You paid, say, in January or February, so 2 months late. You work out interest at 12% per annum, so 1% per month, pay additional interest. This is interest on the installment, of which you will not get the amnesty further. All installment must be paid within 9 months, but if you do not pay at least all the installment before that 9 months, then proportionate benefit will be worked out, right? So we'll see how the proportionate will happen. So this is the payment deadline, 30th September here. Here it is September, and then installment. Application deadline in form 1 or 1A is 14th October. So find that in both the cases, application due date is 14th of October. So here you get 14 days also. Here you have to apply before 14th October and furnish self-certified challans and so on. After making installment payments, you have to finally, after the 9 months are over, file form 7 showing all the 3 installments paid, and you will be getting the final amnesty settlement order. Short payment, if you make, say as per the scheme, you had to make payment of certain amount, requisite amount, but you had to pay, say, 8 lakh rupees, and you paid, say, 4 lakh rupees. So you paid 50%. So the scheme says you will your application will not be rejected for short payment. You will get proportionate benefit, and it is the duty of the designated authority to give you hearing, give you some opportunity. If you can make good, then fine. Otherwise, he will have to work out proportionate benefit and give you the benefit. Outright rejection will not happen, and balance amount will be recoverable under the Act. Sequence of adjustment is also mentioned. The same way, proportionately working will happen. Example is also giving that. There are certain conditions for settlement of arrears. You have to withdraw appeal. If appeal is filed, withdraw appeal. If no appeal is filed, no need, yet you can go for the scheme. So if you have filed an appeal, there is a form 2 given, the format of withdrawal application. Follow that, apply that for withdrawal of appeal, and this withdrawal of appeal is fully and unconditionally. Like in our earlier 2019 scheme, out of say 4 or 5 issues in appeal, I continue 2 issues in the appeal, continue the appeal, balance 3 issues, I take it out from the appeal, go for the amnesty, but no such partial withdrawal is there. Full withdrawal, either full withdraw and go for amnesty or continue fully the appeal. Then this appeal may be pending before the tribunal or court or so. And where interest and penalty orders are, say, in some case, sometimes the basic tax issue was order was there, but for penalty interest some other order was passed. So if you want to go in for amnesty, both the appeals you'll have to withdraw. But if suppose some appeal is not pertaining to any tax issue, you can withdraw the appeal of the penalty. The tax issue can be continued. This is some examples are also given. Appeal can be appeal you withdraw, reference writ petition also can be withdrawn, or get the appeal decided. Fine. So if you feel that no, why you have been chasing filed appeal 3-4 years back, at least chase the appeal officer and tell him to pass the order within the scheme, so you can go for the benefit. So even the appellate authorities will be asked to pass the orders as soon as possible. You can also write to the officer to get the order and then go for the scheme. But at least the deadline is September. Somewhere the MVAT set off were adjusted in CST, and then by virtue of that filed appeal in MVAT as well as CST. Then in that case, if you want to go for the benefit, both the appeals you will have to withdraw and take the benefit. Good part is this, that you filed application for withdrawal of appeal. You may not yet pass the order of appeal withdrawal permitting. You can yet go based on the acknowledgement of that letter of application. Submit that acknowledgement is sufficient proof of withdrawal of appeal. Eligibility for settlement of arrears. Registered person eligible, unregistered also eligible. Fine. Even somewhere say the investigation has been carried on search and all that, and he was unregistered, he can go for. Partial unregistered period, balance registered period, everything you can go for covered. Suppose you have taken some running business and now you realize that there is some problem for the past period, you as a transferee of that business also can take care of. The banks take the charge of the business and all that, so even they can take the benefit. Fine. Application for settlement can be made whether disputed in appeal or not, we just saw. And even if you had applied for amnesty benefit for per earlier scheme, you can get the benefit even in this scheme. Then suppose against some order the state has filed an appeal before the court and all that, even such cases can be covered. But when I refer to the circular, that para does not give any indication, and the problem arises that how to quantify. If state has filed some petition, quantification is not there with me. Whether appeal filed by the state will be withdrawn, apparently it seems they will not withdraw, then appeal order will be there. They say that no recovery and all that, that is fine. But suppose you worked out on your own 100 rupees liability, paid, and finally the order is coming for 200. What happens to the balance 100 liability? So no clarification is there. Here also some representation is needed, and you'll have to ask the commissioner how you wish to take up such matters in the amnesty by the appeal. The conditions are there, separate application for each order or law, and for returns single application can be there for all the periods. Submit online applications are there, attachments are there. October is the deadline. And payment, if you have made the payment of requisite sum before time, then application delayed up to 30 days, delay can be condoned. Reasons you'll have to give for, so one chance is given. Suppose you applied and the officer feels that there is some defect, either you have not attached some order or some calculation mistake is there and you have to make further payment of some amount, he will issue a defect notice, but only once. He will give you 15 days time to answer. You will have to cure that defect within 15 days. So based on that, on curing, you will be again heard. If it is not acceptable, then he will pass the order accordingly. If you are not cured, he may pass appropriate order giving you certain partial benefits as per the scheme what we saw. Finally, some mistakes apparent can be rectified. It can be reviewed also. In some cases, I will skip this certain aspect because it may not be generally applicable. Then the forms are also mentioned by me here. which form to be used when and all that, right? Appeal against the order. Suppose you received the amnesty order, and if you feel that no, some mistake is there, but it is not a rectifiable apparent mistake, but some calculations needed and some interpretation needed, file an appeal. So appeal can be filed before either the DC, JC or additional commissioner, who will hear you, and appeal will be order will be issued. Appeal within 60 days of receipt of order. Here no condonation of delay. So be careful. Say you applied in May, get order in say August, immediately within 60 days you have to prefer appeal if you are not happy with, else you will lose the bus. No delay condonation is there. There is no second appeal also. Appellate authority will pass the just and proper order, but there is no provision for second appeal. You can refer. Once you are through with the settlement scheme, then such matter which is closed will not be reopened under the relevant law. So this is an assurance given. But of course, some prosecution action, there is no mention of there in the scheme. I think representation needed about that, that if suppose everything is I am paying off, then even some prosecution action, if at all pending or taken up, should be set at right or withdrawn. Revocation, suppose something was suppressed and incorrect information furnished, and by which you got the benefit of settlement, then the commissioner has power under this section 17 to take it back. This will happen in some very peculiar case. He's given 2 years time. Fine, he will be always giving you the hearing opportunity and then pass the order. This is very important. No refund under the settlement scheme, right? The law says even if you have made wrong payments and then you say, no, I paid extra some amount, instead of paying 8 lakhs, I paid 10 lakhs, 2 lakhs, you will not be getting refund. It will be adjusted, right? No, under no circumstances. And this is very peculiar. So be careful. If you pay less, fine, but don't pay more. Power of the commissioner that he can give instructions and directions to carry out this particular scheme, prescribed forms. Government also has the power to remove any difficulty. They can come out with some measures and so on. This is the procedural aspect. FAQ also mentions that how you will proceed to make the payments, forms choosing and filing the forms. Let me not devote time. Lastly, what to be attached, and this is very important, just 2 minutes. Recovery under 32A. So it says that the VAT auditor recommended that you make this payment and you accepted. Notice was issued, but this was given in May 30. Secondly, when you file the VAT audit report, statement of submission of acceptance and non-acceptance came in August 30. For earlier period, there was no such requirement of accepting and not accepting by the auditee. In such a scenario, for past periods up to 12, how care will be taken? No guidance for that. No self-determination in case of, say, for default in audit penalty, you'll have to request the officer, pass an order and then go for the amnesty. Pending CST declaration, you'll have to tell the officer to pass some orders and then go for. Self-declaration determination is not permitted. Very important point is this. The last period under the earlier laws prior to GST was June 17 quarter, which falls in financial year 17-18. And if you refer to section 23(2) and 3, it says where the returns are filed within time, then 4 years is there given for passing the order under the law for assessment and so on. So 17-18, 4 years is ending on March 22. So today it is already time barred. You need not, you may not be given any notice for assessment and so on. But suppose you had filed returns late, even the last returns you filed late, in that scenario 1 more year is given to the authority, which is to expire in March 23. So please, in your apt case, you go through that. So auditor recommended you did not pay, whether now to go for the amnesty or not. Then if your returns were in time, now everything is over, one need not go for the amnesty at all. So please look into your facts of the case and then decide. Department will endeavor to complete the pending proceedings, mind well, pending at assessment, appeals, anything. Dealers are requested to take benefit of settlement scheme. You can write to the officer, please proceed and pass the order. I want to go for the amnesty, and he will have to listen to you. Any particular issue, problem, or clarification needed, definitely you better to write to the your nodal officer or GC or commissioner and get clarification. Well, friends, whatever time is available with us, I'll try to answer any questions if at all there. And thank you very much for listening me, giving me this opportunity by our institute. Thankful to the committee and the person in charge. Please, over to you.
Yeah.
I will now stop sharing the screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any question?
Yes. Is I think some questions are there. So how much time we have, and uh, accordingly, let me take the questions.
10 minutes. We have 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Fine. So I'll read out the question which is there in this particular dues payable as per order 12 lakhs, tax 2 lakhs and 10 lakhs interest, amount paid after order 2 lakhs being entire tax and 4 lakhs as interest, balance outstanding as on date is 6 lakhs, availing benefit whether 15% of 6 lakhs is still payable. Answer is yes, because arrears as per the statutory order as on say April 22 is 6 lakhs, correct? So of 6 lakhs, you will definitely work out the 15% and you'll have to pay. Second, VAT appeal not filed by assessee, tax determined by STO is disputed tax or undisputed, right? So here you will have to see that as per the order and as per the facts in your case, if the tax is collected and all that, it becomes undisputed, you'll have to pay full 100%. But if you have not collected taxes, you had not shown that as payable in the returns, it becomes disputed. You'll be liable to pay 50% or 30% depending upon the period of the liability. Third, VAT appeal not filed by the assessee, tax determined by STO is the disputed tax to calculate liability. No, I think that say third one is almost the repetition. I didn't find any difference into that. 4. Statutory order under the Profession Tax Act is passed April 17 to March 18. However, the scheme is for 17 up to. Can amnesty applied? Answer is no, because the order is 1 April to March 18, so you cannot go for the amnesty. I don't have some C forms vendor ledger confirmation. Then will it fall in disputed or undisputed? Can we take benefit of amnesty for pending C form? The answer is pending C forms which are there. If as per the statutory order or the appeal pending an appeal order or so pending, definitely this is the disputed sum for pending C forms and ledger confirmations. You can take the benefit. Next is I have filed appeal, but my appeal got rejected for want of documents. I am eligible to claim benefit? Yes. So when your appeal got rejected, the order is now the original assessment order. So you'll have to take the data and figures as per the assessment order and work out as per the scheme. Say second, next one is 7th is department has gone under appeal to High Court for 11-12 and disputed amount is 4 lakhs. Issue is sales tax levy on service tax component. Yeah, that is a disputed one. ITAT order was in favor. High Court hearing still not happened since 3 years. Since amount is too small, we want to settle and close. Can we opt for? Yes, you can opt for. You can definitely go for, and this is a disputed thing, so you can go for the 50%. Next, I have received 3-year appeal order in March 22, out of which 1-year order is resulted into refund 12 lakhs and balance 2 orders are resulted into 15 lakhs in totality. I want to get benefit under amnesty scheme. My question is that whether refund in appeal order of 12 lakh is required to be adjusted while calculating requisite amount for. I would say that you ask for the refund separately, and for the next 2 periods you can go for the amnesty. So before he adjust the amount, if it is not adjusted, you have still the chance to go for the 2 periods, go for the amnesty, apply for, and then balance that he'll have to refund. But before you do that, if he adjusts, then I think you have no recourse, but the net amount only is eligible for. If rectification is pending for a statutory order, which will have the effect of reducing the dues. Of course, if rectification is pending, pursue the officer to pass the rectification order, which is also given in circular. Quote that you expedite, pass the order so that you can go for. And if you go before getting rectification order, then of course the order which is already there, against which you have gone for rectification, rectification will not be considered. Original order position you'll have to consider for the amnesty. Rectification is pending, which will no, that is I think repeated or what? Next, yeah, after 10. Can you go further? Yeah. What will be the amount when to consider? No, I think rectification you request the officer to consider. So if original order is 100 rupees, rectification comes to say 70 or 80, then take rectification. But you'll have to take the rectification order chasing the officer. Lump sum payment option where 20% of arrears is required to be paid. 20% is to be paid under tax head or so. That I mentioned that there is no clarity. So please wait for, instead of hurrying up. You may get some clarification in a week or 2. I had made appeal for AO passed in December 20. Now I couldn't get any benefit in appeal and I have to take benefit of the scheme. If I withdraw the appeal, shall I have to pay interest? Yeah. Can you please go up?
Is there any question further?
Okay. No. Last question is pending. Question 12. Can you just take the screen further? Yeah, I think from the if I withdraw the appeal, shall I have to pay interest from the date of AO till date? Answer is no. See, assessment order is done, and based on assessment order, if you are going for the amnesty scheme, post assessment interest and penalty is fully waived off. 0 you have to pay, so no payment is required. 13. If the demand as per order was say 12 lakhs, we paid 8 lakhs and balance 4 lakhs. We went for rectification. Now can I pay under lump sum 20%? Of answer is yes, definitely, because areas should be up to 10 lakhs. So you can very well go for. Amended 32, a VAT audit accepted are recoverable automatically. So unaccepted liability can be termed as disputed. In my view, yes. When I gave you 3 interpretations, so I think we'll have to seek clarification from the commissioner. But in his circular, he has said that now you determine whether it is disputed or undisputed, applying the definition. So there is some interpretation issues. Well, I think I have almost answered all.
Yes, sir. Good evening to all of you. I would like to present a vote of thanks here. It's a matter of pride me to provide thanks to all of you. Thanks to Murtuja sir, thanks to Yasan sir, thanks to Gautam, and especially it's a great presentation by Deepak sir. He covered all points like eligibility, definition, uh, payment requisite, case study, determination of cases, appeals reopen or revocation, many points. This is very knowledgeable presentation, and it's cleared all doubt we have related to this scheme. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Deepak sir, once again. Thank you all of you participants for present here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.